Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating text. I mean, it's a real philosophical deep dive that totally challenges how we suppress our everyday emotions, and it practically forces us to rethink how we face our own mortality. The piece we're looking at is called Dancing the Tango on the Edge of Death by Su Feng. And the author, Shu Feng, he just hits us right out of the gate with this incredibly heavy, provocative claim. He says, those who have never experienced despair do not truly understand life. He's essentially arguing that the people who really truly grasp the depth of life are the ones who have endured suffering, fought through intense loneliness, and most importantly, can look death right in the eye without a single ounce of fear. Section 1. The Edge of Death. So, to understand exactly what it means to face death fearlessly, Su Feng roots his argument in a very specific cultural milestone. In traditional Chinese culture, there's this concept known as huajia. It refers to the completion of a full 60-year sexagenary cycle. When someone turns 61, boom, they've completed this massive, lifelong cycle of time. And in the author's view, at that exact moment, you are officially standing on the edge of death. So the big question he asks us is this: what happens after 60? When you are standing right there on the brink of your own mortality, how exactly are you supposed to walk the path that comes next? Section 2. Define the Grim Reaper. To answer that question, the author brings in this surreal, almost whimsical little fable. It goes like this. There's a villager named Bu He, and his death is rigidly foretold for the morning of his 60th year. Right on schedule, the Grim Reaper sends a messenger down to fetch him for reincarnation across what's called the Three Realms Transit Continent. But when the messenger actually gets to the house, Bu He is nowhere to be found. He's just missing. The messenger tracks his footprints all the way down to the foot of a mountain and tries to deliver the official, non-material message of death. But get this, the message just bounces back. It literally cannot enter his being. So why is that? Well, this is where the author paints an absolutely striking contrast. On one hand, you have the Grim Reaper's rigid expectation for a 60-year-old. Frail, dull eyes, stiff mind, shallow breath. Basically, someone who's entirely ready to fade away. But on the other hand, we have Bu Hui's reality. The messenger finds him joyous and just utterly vigorous. He's out there picking mushrooms, singing at the top of his lungs, imitating birds, racing rabbits, and chasing butterflies. He's acting with the total carefree innocence of a little child. And because his life energy hasn't followed that expected depressing course of aging, the message of death simply doesn't match his structure. It's like a computer glitch. It literally can't process him. So the messenger heads back to the Grim Reaper in total confusion. And the Grim Reaper's response? It delivers a fantastic plot twist. He says, Bu Hui's ability to dance on the edge of death shows that he has retained a childlike heart. I will grant him an additional 60 years. Because he lives so vibrantly, he gets a massive 60-year extension on life. And right here, this is where the text formally introduces its central metaphor, dancing the tango on the edge of death. It means living with energetic, powerful, unapologetic steps, precisely when the end is supposedly right around the corner. Section 3. The Fishhead Sacrifice. All right, stepping away from surreal fables and into the real world for a second, have you ever pretended to like the fish head? Now, maybe not a literal fish head, but you know what I mean. Have you ever pretended to prefer the worst part of a meal or volunteered for the hardest chore just to make things easier for the people you love? The author shares this incredibly relatable story about an elderly mother who, for her entire life, always claimed to love eating the fish heads during family dinners, purposefully leaving the good, meaty parts for her husband and her kids. Her kids grew up fully believing this sacrifice was just her genuine preference. So, years later, when she became ill and was hospitalized in her old age, her children wanted to show their ultimate devotion. They specially prepared and brought her a huge plate of fish heads to eat. And it was right then and there that she finally dropped the lifelong mask. She confessed the truth. I didn't really love fish heads. She explained that back when they were poor, someone just had to eat the head, so she took on the burden and pretended to like it. And she finished her confession with this great line, "But now you can bring me some fish meat instead." So, how does this touching little family anecdote connect back to our core concept? The author states it beautifully. He says, "The mother finally danced her tango." Think about it. After a lifetime of wearing this incredibly heavy mask of self-sacrifice, she dropped it. Standing on the edge of death in that hospital bed, she finally expressed her true, authentic desires. She danced her tango. And the author argues that far, far too many of us live our whole lives under the crushing weight of these masks, desperately suppressing our true feelings of love, hatred, and sorrow, until the very, very end. Section 4. The problem with tolerance. Now, you might be wondering, if dropping our masks is so freeing, why do we even wear them in the first place? Well, it all comes down to societal norms. We hear variations of these traditional idioms constantly. The beauty of restraint lies in tolerance. Forbearance is a virtue. Tolerance brings calm after the storm. Or the true principles of the universe are truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. Now, impartially speaking here, while many cultures across the globe deeply revere these ideas as the absolute peak of morality, the author of this text aggressively rejects them. He points to these sayings and labels them as hypocritical tools, specifically designed by society to suppress human nature. He argues that this over-glorified virtue of tolerance is exactly what forces us into wearing masks, which ultimately leads to immense societal bitterness. He points out a profound psychological danger here. When we constantly practice forbearance, when we just endlessly tolerate minor grievances without ever speaking up, that anger doesn't just magically evaporate, it accumulates. He uses a famous quote from the writer Lu Xun: "Explode in silence or perish in it." The author's argument is that this forced societal silence, this constant suppression of our true feelings, it's like a pressure cooker. It will eventually erupt like a volcano, causing immense destruction to both ourselves and the people around us. So how exactly do we fix this societal pressure cooker? The author's proposed solution is pretty straightforward. Instead of suppressing human nature, letting minor grievances go unchecked, and accumulating all that dangerous anger, he advocates for the exact opposite. Addressing small injustices immediately, expressing your love, your hate, and your joy promptly. He makes the bold claim that society will only progress toward true civilization, rationality, and harmony if we absolutely refuse to suppress human nature. Section 5. Dancing your own tango. Moving from abstract philosophy into highly practical, everyday application, the author gives us a rather grim yet highly motivating reminder. Because of sudden accidents, illnesses, or disasters, we don't just reach the edge of death at age 60. We are actually always on the edge of death at every single age. And because of that, there's absolutely zero time to wait. The author fires off some rapid, incredibly bold commands for us. First, if there's someone you have longed for in your heart, but you've never told them because of some societal constraint or fear of rejection, go to them right now and say clearly, "I like you so much." Literally do it today. Don't wait until you're in a hospital bed. And he definitely doesn't stop at just the positive emotions. If you harbor deep resentment for someone, dance your tango. Go to them and boldly declare, "You old fool, I hate you." The author literally suggests that if you can't do it in person, call them up, send a messenger, or hop on the internet and write an article to mock them, just to finally let out the anger trapped in your heart. Now, regardless of how extreme that sounds, his point is that he wants you to violently throw off the mask of polite tolerance. So, the core takeaway of this entire explainer really boils down to one simple, urgent instruction. Express your feelings in time. Whether it's deep admiration, burning resentment, profound joy, or intense dissatisfaction, the author is urging us to drop our masks immediately. Stop pretending to like the fish head. Don't wait until you're staring down your final days or waiting around for your 60th birthday. Express your true, unvarnished human nature today, before it's permanently too late. Which brings us to the end of our journey through this captivating text. I want to leave you with this final, highly provocative question. You are on the edge of death today. How will you dance your tango? Will you finally speak your mind to the people around you? Will you drop the mask of tolerance and chase butterflies like boo-hooey? It's a profound challenge that truly makes you reevaluate the masks you're wearing right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this sparks you to explore these fascinating concepts even further.